Dopamine detox. Are you having trouble tackling difficult tasks? Learn how dopamine works in the brain and increase your motivation to take on challenging work. Discover how the dopamine detox will help you form new habits and spend time doing activities that actually benefit you. Dopamine is often referred to as the pleasure molecule, but its function is more complex than that. Dopamine is responsible for creating desire and motivation, driving us to take action towards achieving our goals. In experiments with rats, researchers found that stimulating the brain's reward system with dopamine led to addictive behavior, with the rats continuously pressing a lever to receive the reward. Conversely, blocking dopamine release resulted in lethargy and a lack of motivation. The role of dopamine in human behavior. In humans, dopamine plays a similar role. Our brains develop priorities based on the amount of dopamine expected to be released from an activity. If an activity releases a lot of dopamine, we're more likely to repeat it. This is why we often find ourselves mindlessly scrolling through social media or playing video games, as these activities release high amounts of dopamine. The dark side of dopamine. However, this dopamine-driven behavior can have negative consequences. Our bodies have a natural system called homeostasis, which seeks to maintain balance and stability. When we constantly flood our brains with high amounts of dopamine, our bodies adapt by downregulating dopamine receptors. This leads to dopamine tolerance, making it harder to motivate ourselves to do activities that don't release as much dopamine. The consequence of dopamine tolerance. Dopamine tolerance can lead to addiction, making it difficult to adjust to a normal life. It also makes it harder to enjoy activities that don't release as much dopamine, leading to boredom and a lack of motivation. Overcoming dopamine tolerance. So, what can be done to overcome dopamine tolerance? One solution is to perform a dopamine detox. This involves setting aside a day to avoid all highly stimulating activities, allowing your dopamine receptors to recover. By doing so, you'll find that activities that previously seemed boring or uninteresting become more appealing. An alternative to dopamine detox. If a full dopamine detox seems too extreme, you can try a smaller detox. Choose one day a week to refrain from one high dopamine behavior, allowing yourself to reconnect with activities that don't release as much dopamine. Using dopamine to your advantage. Instead of trying to avoid dopamine altogether, you can use it to your advantage. Reward yourself with high dopamine activities after completing difficult, low dopamine work. This will create a motivation cycle where you're driven to complete tasks to earn your reward. Conclusion. In conclusion, dopamine plays a crucial role in motivation and desire. By understanding how dopamine works and taking steps to overcome dopamine tolerance, you can regain control over your behavior and achieve your goals. Remember, it's up to you to decide where you get your dopamine from. Will you choose activities that benefit you or those that hold you back?